So recently I've been thinking a lot talking about because we've been working on my branding and my screen name, my email is Balanced Blackwood. And we've been talking a lot about I've been talking a lot about, thinking a lot about with other people, how amazing it is, just the balance in life in general, and how exciting finding that balance in life is. Because getting through life, and not just getting through life, but going through life happy is as I've been saying recently, all about finding that purpose, but just as much about finding those things that you love that get you through. Because, there are things you're going to love and things you don't. There are people who are going to get it and people who won't. And at the end of the day, I've been talking a lot about how there's no point in looking back on and wondering where life could have gone, especially if you're not prepared and ready to do what it takes to get there. And because of this, I've been talking about something that there are a couple of things that I don't really think about all that often, which is that I could have been a model. At one point, I could have been an actress. At one point, I could have been a professional gymnast. At one point, I could have been a professional singer. Growing up in Silicon Valley, I had several opportunities to do things that I could have been famous for one reason or another. But I don't think about that because I wake up every day excited by my purpose, knowing that I wasn't supposed to do those things because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing now. And literally, so before I was really even in elementary school, I ended up screwing up a modeling audition just because I said that I wanted to be an agent rather than a model, because in my head I was thinking, okay, we're going to go meet the agents. And I was so nervous that when I talked to the agent, I accidentally said I wanted to be an agent rather than a model. But what I meant was a model. I just said the wrong thing. And then a few years later, I was literally sitting in the office of a very, very, very prominent acting agent. And I decided, for some reason, knowing that we were going to have to pay them a retainer, even though I didn't understand what that was, all I really understood was we were going to have to give them more money, which was basically a retainer for them to be the agent. Something in my head said, you know what, this was fun. I really enjoyed all of the lessons. I really enjoyed filming my audition reel. I really, really had fun getting my professional headshots done. But something told me at 7 years old, I might have even been 9 at the end of it when this happened, but something told me it wasn't meant to be. So we said thank you, but no thank you. We're going to move on. And then with gymnastics, I looked at the girls around me who were professional gymnasts, and I was like, they love gymnastics and they love what they do, but they're a little miserable because gymnastics is all they do. And I want to have more in my life than just gymnastics. So I decided to continue to do gymnastics for fun, or go back rather to doing gymnastics for fun, and moved on to singing, which I love doing anyway. And I ended up being on a children's album with this woman who is connected to artists that have topped the charts in America. If not at number 1, within the top 10 to 5. Top 10 or top 5. But when it came time to either stick with it or move on, something told me I was supposed to move on, and I didn't quite know what. And then I started figuring it out a couple of years later after that. I realized that I was noticing the difference between those who, especially my age, were miserable and those who weren't, they were missing certain, as I say, skills, tools, and habits that I had. And I was realizing that, especially as my parents were getting divorced, and I was going through therapist after therapist, and for different reasons. But I had one counselor who was still getting her PhD in psychology. And the difference between them and her was that she was teaching me how to do what I needed to do to be happy. And then one day, I was in this guy's office and they were assessing me. And I realized, this was the first time I realized that you could pay someone who did psychological assessment for a diagnosis. Because he took one sentence I said, one, and twisted it into a bipolar diagnosis. And something clicked for me. Because what I said was, really sad things are happening in my life. That was true. But I'm really good at looking on the bright side and making myself happy again. That was also true. But he took that one statement and twisted it into bipolar diagnosis because we paid him. And I started realizing that was happening to other people. And started realizing that the people who were having a bad experience with therapy, especially psychologists, were that they just hadn't found their right fit. Or they were getting people who were just getting paid to write a diagnosis. So all of these people who didn't have mental illness were getting diagnosed and taught how to wallow and even take pills for something they didn't have. I experienced a mild amount of depression at the worst of it, but most of the time I was just sad, regularly sad, because of the bad stuff that was going on in my life. And so this comes back to what I was saying about being ready to do what it takes. I realized that that was my purpose. And I realized that I was willing to do what it took because I was getting my degree in psychology, my first degree in psychology, and all of a sudden, I had one math class standing in my way. And for 2.5 years, I signed up for a single class a quarter to make sure I stayed in the school system to figure out this one math class. And in the meantime, I got my certification so that I could counsel people because I knew it was going to take me a little while to save up money to start getting my next degrees. But I recognized the difference between when I was waking up and not motivated in comparison to waking up then with my purpose motivated. I wanted to share that with the world because I knew that I had felt both and knew how amazing it was to be motivated to live as opposed to not. I knew what it was like to be motivated to be happy rather than wallowing in sadness. And I wanted to help people understand that it wasn't as hard as they thought it was. And this comes back to what I say about, you have to be it till you see it rather than fake it till you make it. And you have to love yourself because you can't compare yourself to anyone else. You have to compare yourself to who you were yesterday if you want a healthy comparison. So you have to learn how to love yourself now, but that doesn't mean settling for who you are now. That means learning to love yourself for who you are now so you have this baseline comparison because you be it till you see it. You don't fake loving yourself until you love yourself. You learn to start loving yourself so that you can continue to love yourself. But that was the thing, was that I was hearing, and I was even saying, you're worthy. But what I realized is it's not just worthy, it's capable. You are capable of growth. You are capable of more. You are capable of better. And I realized that people were misinterpreting these things they were being told as settle for who you are now because that's what you're worthy of. But what you're worthy of is more. What you're what you're worthy of and capable of, because it's not going to be handed to you. It can't be handed to you. But you are worthy of more because you are capable of more. All right, guys, thank you for joining me for another video. I am currently still taking applicants for this upcoming session cycle. So hit me up if you're ready. If you're ready to get your shit together, as I say, if you're ready to level up in life, if you're ready to wake up excited with a purpose in life, because it's a puzzle. And that's what I realized helping other people figure out what their puzzle pieces were when figuring out what their purpose in life was, is that you have the information within you. What I do is help you pull that information out and sort it like a big jigsaw puzzle to get to the bigger picture. And man, is that the best feeling in the world? Helping someone figure out what their purpose is and then watching it light them up every day. So, yeah, as I said, if you're ready, I'm ready. Hit me up. And also, and in the meantime, definitely go check out my Patreon. My Patreon tiers are the foundations of how I start working with my clients. And I've put a lot of thought and effort into what goes there and here. And I want to thank those who are Patreon supporters, because that support allows me to be able to do the videos there and here in between clients. So thank you for that. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, both here and there. And may the energy you serve you well. And let's keep making our way through. See you in the next one. If I don't see you one-on-one.